That was awesome.
Thank you.
And wait, there's one more person that needs to be introduced.
Unfortunately, Noam Harari, who plays Z, is in Los Angeles right now. But
You were all wondering, where's Z?
you're all wondering. But he did send a little bit of a video because he couldn't be here. So watch that.
I just wanted to say hello, and I hope you're enjoying or enjoyed tonight's episode or are about to enjoy tonight's episode. I'm not sure where I'm landing here, but I wish I could be there with everybody tonight, with the cast members in front of you or potentially behind you. I don't know where you're sitting or what you're looking at. But enjoy. I'll be watching tomorrow. I haven't seen it yet, so you're getting that first peek. Looking forward to making more episodes, and until next time.
Once again, Noam Harari.
Sam, can you make sure all the mics are on? Because a couple of them were having some trouble, but I'm sure they'll come back.
I wanted to actually introduce one more cast, thank you. One more cast member who is here. Ito Samuel, can you stand up for us? From Los Angeles. How funny was he? Amazing.
Who else here is involved with the production in any way?
Stand up.
Raise your hand, stand up.
And Sara, everybody who's in the episodes, Akara, our editor. Oh, everybody.
It takes a village, people.
So I have a few questions. Can we do this like classic Sundance style? I have some serious questions, and then we'll take some questions from the audience too. I want to know how this all started. Tell the story. Where did it come from? How did it come together?
Sure. It started almost 3 years ago when somebody introduced me to the Israeli TV show Scur. And I immediately binge watched all of them, and I loved it and was obsessed with it. And at the same time, a lot of my friends were kind of starting to date, and they had all these really ridiculous and hilarious stories. And I loved hearing them, and it kind of dawned on me that there's so much material here in New York, and it seemed kind of crazy that nobody had done it yet. And I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. And so it really just started with a short film. So the first episode, the setup, was a 15-minute short. And I kind of knew that I wanted to keep going as a web series, but I had no idea how people would react, if they would like it, if they would hate it. And I knew I liked it. And then it got into a couple of festivals. And then when it screened at the festivals, people would come up to me afterwards and say, we loved it, but what happens next? And so I said, great, I want to tell you what happens next, and that's how it turned into a series.
And let's go one by one and tell us how each of you got involved. At what point did you get involved, and what drew you to it?
Well, I'm Danny. What drew me to it, I had worked with Leah on a number of projects before, including, but not limited to, the first time we worked together was actually on a Purim-themed parody of the show The Office, which is fun. You can find it on YouTube if you look really hard. But
look it up, please.
but that's where I met Leah. She asked me to come in and audition for the role of David, and I did, and it went well, I guess. I ended up reading with Sara in the audition, which was a lot of fun. And then when Leah decided to make it into a larger series, I asked if I can come on as a producer and a writer.
Still thinking about it.
Still thinking about it. 3 episodes later, still thinking about it. But no, fortunately she said yes, and there you go.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm also one of the producers and an actor in the show. So I've known Leah for years. We've always wanted to collaborate on a project. We've both been involved in theater and the arts. And a few months before the setup, I met with Leah for coffee and Coffee Bean, which used to be our office before it closed. May it rest in peace. And she told me about this great idea to kind of create an American version of Srugim. And I was sharing with her some of my lovely, illustrious dating stories from living on the Upper West Side. And so she brought me in a few months later to audition for, fun fact, Sarah Jacobs for the first episode. And that didn't work out, but I came and everything is so fortuitous. I came and I was an extra and a PA on the first episode. So it's so important to kind of, just be involved in the project in any capacity. And then over the summer, Leah brought me on. She wrote me into the show and she brought me on as the producer. Hi.
Hi, I'm Sara. I just applied for the project on Backstage. I, read the little breakdown and was like, oh, that sounds cool. Her name is Sara. My name is Sara. Could be meant to be. It was. So yeah, I just came in and I auditioned. I read with Danny, and I remember feeling really good about reading with you. It was like a nice fit. So yeah.
We would have taken anybody whose name was actually Sara, and it turns out she could act also, which is really lucky.
To be fair, you got like a lot to choose from, so here's that.
Very common.
I also found it on Backstage, and I remember it was some we needed an arrogant law student. I was like, nailed it. And I think your note from me was like, you jerk really well. So, yeah, that was like 2 years ago, right? Yeah.
He's actually very, very nice in person.
So let me ask about the process a little bit. You're making this episode by episode. Really, it's not like you've, there's been an order from ABC for the whole season in advance.
Not yet.
It's the Anaheim.
Not yet. You're working on it. By the way, how many people have seen the show? What's your YouTube count these days? You know?
The first one is somewhere in something like 110,000.
Yeah.
110,000.
So
Over
there's
110,000.
Thank you. And if there's anybody here in the audience who hasn't seen that episode yet, then you're gonna watch it
You
tonight.
could be 110,001.
That's right.
That's a sign of growth and going viral. I have to say that earlier I was with Leah in the elevators here at the JCC, and these two young ladies were coming out just as we were getting into the elevator. There were T-shirts around, and you saw their eyes kind of put two and two together, and suddenly they were like, "So do you guys get stopped on the street? Is this like, can you no longer walk the Upper West Side?"
I have security with me wherever I go now. No. Usually at Jewish events, I'll get recognized a lot, or sometimes in random places too. It's really fun. Now I'm always a little more cognizant of what I wear and how I look, which is a little annoying. But for the most part,
Don't spit in public just in case the paparazzi are there.
Right.
You don't want to be caught.
But for the most part, it's really rewarding to just go about your daily life, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up to you and says that they love your work. It makes shopping at the grocery so much better. So it's been wonderful. Yeah.
I've also been fortunate. I live in Washington Heights, and a lot of people there have seen it. So they come over and say that they like the show, which is always very gratifying. It's a weird thing that happens sometimes where they can't remember the name of the show, but they know that I'm from a thing that they've seen on YouTube. So I get a lot of you're the guy from the. And then it feels really weird for me to tell them why they know me. You watched me in Soon By You and you loved it, was basically what happened there. But I'm getting used to it, and hopefully the show name will be more in their heads next time.
I get a lot of, I know you from somewhere. And I used to think that was, someone hitting on me. But now I'm have Soon By You, and they're like, yes! So putting that two and two together is fun.
And then they hit on you.
Of course, yeah.
You two don't get recognized?
Wear sunglasses wherever I go.
Nathan, I hope you don't get recognized. It's
I certainly hope so. Noam actually has a great story about, was it a rabbi in LA who just yelled Z across the street? It was just what's going on?
I think the story was that he was in Coffee Bean in LA, and some, I think, Chabad guy looks at him and says, I know you from somewhere, and Noam goes, dude, I don't want to Rampsville right now, leave me alone. And then the guy's like, no, I know you. And Noam's like, I don't know where you know me from. And he just left, and then the guy chased him down the street, Z, you're Z! And then he asked him to Rampsville instead.
So I started to talk about the process of this. How long have you worked on this episode? What's the kind of timeline?
7 months. Yeah, it just ended a few hours ago, actually.
This is the first time they're seeing this.
It's the first time I'm seeing it with everything put together, so I've seen the cut in different forms over the last couple of months, probably like 70 times. But this is the first time I'm seeing it all complete with the music and the color and everything put together. So,
This is the first time I saw it with subtitles, and I speak a little bit of Hebrew, but not enough, so I had no idea what you were saying most of the time. I was like, I really hope this is something we could use, and it was perfect.
And here I assumed you were a rabbi. How close are any of you to your characters? Do you relate to your characters in any way?
You guys can tell that Leah is Sarah Jacobs, right? It's just,
I have a Sarah J side to me sometimes.
Buried
She's
somewhere.
very gutsy, and I like that. I think I have that a little bit. Otherwise, not so much.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Sarah, I think you're pretty similar to Sarah. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. Just reading the scripts and stuff, I definitely, some of the lines, it's a little too easy sometimes, because I definitely feel like I connect to Sarah F. a lot with the reading and the.
not only that, but when we were doing the painting scenes, you made this beautiful, you painted your thing beautifully as Sarah would, so you have some kind of artistic talent
Thank you.
in that way as well.
You painted yours beautifully too.
Yeah, your cow was so cute.
Oh, you got it.
Superhero cow, wasn't it?
Yeah, I gave it a little mask.
I saw
Yeah.
that.
That was a nice setup. You give a compliment just so you could get it back. Well done. Before I open it to questions from the audience, I want to know, what's the plan? How far off? Have you planned season 3 already? Do you know how many more episodes do you have planned? Will they? Won't they? Is there? When will they? When won't they? How far ahead have you planned this out?
You have to tread lightly here so we don't give away any spoilers.
Right. I will say that we are in the process of writing episode 5. And that, yeah.
We'll see you all in 7 months.
Exactly. It's a long process, longer than we wish it could be, because after every episode we kind of take a break and raise the funds to film it, and then we write and it's a really long process. We're kind of doing a lot of things at once, and it's an exhausting but exhilarating process, and so we'd like to at least do episode 5 and kind of round out season 1 that way. We always saw the first season with like a 5-episode arc, and that is still the plan. We're not sure how we're going to do that, but that's the plan as of now. So, yeah.
Well said.
Any questions from the audience? I see a hand up already. I'll pass around the mic.
You're all professional actors and actresses. Could you tell us a little bit about your professional training? Who are the influences have been in your life? What kind of theater you like? What brought you into theater? What have you taken from your theatrical education into this?
Those were a lot of. Anybody take notes on all the different parts of it? I'll start. Everybody will go. I studied theater. I have a degree in drama from Yeshiva University, which is not a tremendously large theater department. I don't know if anybody here has gone to Yeshiva University or has participated in the theater department there. It's not tremendously large, but it is good. I also studied at the William Esper Studio, and you're going to be hearing that from some other people on the panel as well. In terms of people who I try to emulate, people whose acting I respect, especially for this role, because there is a lot of comedy to it and also some amount of drama. I think that Steve Carell is one of my role models as far as combining. Is he here? Did he just? No?
Come on down,
Man.
Steve.
He didn't respond to my invite, which is a shame.
Or my repeated text.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
Just combining the drama and the comedy, because I think the reason why he's so successful at what he does is because everything that, even the comedic roles that he plays, are completely honest. And I think he approaches comedy the same way he approaches drama, which is something that I try to do as well. And forgive me, I forgot the other 3 or 4 parts.
I think you got that.
I'm going to end it there and let the others take over.
I went to NYU for educational theater. I'm a certified theater teacher. I taught for 3 years in the public school system. I taught professional actors at the Professional Performing Arts School, and then at a middle school in the South Bronx. Then I went back to grad school for directing at the Actors Studio Drama School at Pace University, and I had amazing teachers there. And so all of my training from both of those programs really influenced my art and a kind of, definitely my acting technique. Susan Aston and Jack Lynette were my acting teachers. And of course, I'll always be inspired by the great James Lipton, who's the Dean Emeritus of our program. And I think if I had to say, like, my biggest acting influence would be Robin Williams. Because I think that he was able to display such comedic gold with genuine vulnerability, which I think is a very difficult balance to strike.
I moved to New York 6 years ago, and to study at the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts, which is a small acting conservatory in Chelsea. I did a little bit of film training, a little bit of theater, a little bit of everything there. But for me, it's always been film and TV. I'm really interested in on-screen acting. I did a little bit of theater as well. I do love theater, but I'm a big film buff. And I would say that my biggest acting influence and kind of, acting role model would be Cate Blanchett. I've watched her since I was, 6 or so, and just loved all of her work and everything she does. And I don't know if Sara F's the Cate Blanchett character, but she's kind of my biggest role model, I would say. But yeah.
I'm from Seattle originally. I got started at Seattle Children's Theater. Went to undergrad at University of British Columbia for theater. Moved out here 4 years ago. And yeah, I went to William Esper Studio. Acting role models, oh God. I could talk for a long time about that. Right now, I'd say I love the work that Michael Fassbender and Tom Hardy are doing. I think in terms of people who are constantly booking, they both do like really beautiful internal work that I could watch them forever. Yeah.
I studied acting at the Actor Circle in Los Angeles, and I went to Scur in college, majored in film and did some drama there. Shout out to Ruben Russell, my drama professor. Hi.
And also Uncle Avi, if you've seen the previous episodes, he's here.
Yeah. My acting influences kind of change depending on what I'm working on. So right now I really admire like writer actors. Really into all of Tina Fey's work right now. Been like reading her books and studying them a lot. Yeah, that's pretty much what I like right now.
I feel like sometimes when you're saying who your role model is, you want to say the person who's going to get like a reaction from the audience. There were always some of these like, and then Robin Williams gets a standing ovation, which of course he should, but it kind of makes me feel like I should have chosen Robin Williams.
Too late, Danny. It's too late.
Got a question up here.
You'll get them at the next
Hey,
one.
this question is for Leah. So this show is about a population that is not usually depicted in the arts or in many media. So how do you go about talking about this, talking about the Orthodox, modern Orthodox community? So what are some of the things you have in mind when making this work?
That's a really good question. And I reached out to the creator of Scur before I released episode 1 for some advice, because it's like something really new and it's hard to know how to go about it and do it effectively. And he gave me very good advice, lazy Shapiro. He said that when you're portraying the Orthodox world, you never want to try to like teach the audience, because a lot of our audience is Orthodox and they do understand a lot of the nuances, but some of them aren't at all. And they're just people who, maybe don't even know Jewish people in their own lives. And so that advice has really helped with this show. Like, we never tried to explain things like, she's gonna go wash her hands now because, that's what we do for bread. She just does it. And I think that's really been one of the key things that have helped us be effective to like a wider audience. And that's really the goal, to have kind of like this dual audience of people who really get it and are from this community, and people who know nothing about it but are just fascinated by it because it's fun.
I think one of our goals also in relation to that is that the whatever people who aren't familiar with the Orthodox, community, whatever details they miss, maybe there's some jokes that they don't get, whatever details they miss, they're still getting the crux of the show, which is, the conflicts and the comedy and the relationships. And from the people that I've spoken to, and I hope that's representative of most of our audience, They say that that comes through even without having the background and the knowledge of the Orthodox, Orthodox Judaism, and that helps us kind of balance it as well.
I think one of the strong elements both of Srugim and of this show, and I think of actually Israeli cinema now in general, the success is really because there's a deep culture there to rely on, this real treasure box of nuances that I think exist here and make this a much deeper show because of everything that's just naturally in the world that's being depicted. And I think that actually will hopefully, and this brings me to my last question, translate beyond the specific culture. It actually having that level of depth and that kind of basis to rely on allows people who have never been Orthodox or are not part of the Orthodox community to be able to really enjoy it, be impressed by it, take stuff in. So my question is, we're here at the JCC, but beyond the Jewish community, have you heard of this show reaching beyond, and what have the reactions been?
Yeah, one of my favorite comments on our YouTube videos is from someone who I think it was just something like, isn't it kind of ironic that I'm Muslim and I find this show totally relevant? And I really like that, and we've gotten a lot of comments like that from people from different religions. And so we have like that group of people who really enjoy it, but there are also a lot of people who watch who have never met a Jewish person in their life, and they say, oh, you guys are kind of just like regular, normal people. And I love that we get to show, this side of us that isn't necessarily seen so much in mainstream, TV shows, because we often see either like ultra-Orthodox Jews or totally secular Jews, and there's not really much of this modern Orthodox Jew portrayed. And that's something I think connects to a lot of people, and they can like relate to it even if they're not from this community.
I wonder, I don't want to put you on the spot here. Sara, while she plays Sara Feldman impeccably, is not Jewish. So I'm wondering if you might be able to say anything about like how the show or content might reach you or people that you've spoken to, maybe. Sorry to put you on the spot.
It didn't stop you at security?
She fits right in.
Well, I do get this question a lot, actually. A lot of people ask me, like, well, what's it like being on the show, or, playing someone who's Jewish, and what's it like? Is it really weird and different? And I think a lot of what Leah was saying is, so many of the themes on the show are so universal. I never really felt like I had any trouble with, understanding things, because dating and love and, being with somebody, these are all things that everyone from different cultures, religions, all over, experience and go through, and we can all connect on that level. And that's why I think the show's so great. But yeah, and it's just, the little details like pronouncing challah and stuff like that I kind of...
She's good, right? She's really good.
Big Midrash, so yeah, so just little things like that they've helped me, and it's just been great learning so much about everything. But that's the beauty of acting, is you immerse yourself in this world that you wouldn't have, otherwise. So yeah.
What happens next now? Where do we go from here?
Like literally, where
Like
we're going?
literally,
I can
we know episode 5's in the works, but
I'll
are there
take it.
donuts?
So, thank you all for sitting and watching and giving us the feedback.
Oh, I could have sworn that video was longer before, but you finished. Good for you. Okay. Make sure to click on our logo below to subscribe, and there's some more Student by You stuff over here to check out. You can watch this one, or this one, but there's this one. So, it's your call.